Coco. Coco. Oh, there you are. Are you excited? Hey, Coco, we're going to the farm. We're going to the farm. Are you ready?
Are we going to the farm? Yay!
Let's go. Hey guys, Christine and myself are heading off to the farm. And I think Christine's nearly more excited than Coco is. So we're just packing up the last of our things. We're heading off this morning. Well, we're heading off in about 2 minutes. And we shall see you there. Episode 25, The Great Farm Cleanup. And just like that, we're at the farm. We had a great trip, well as can be expected. About 4 hours, a couple of stops for coffee and toilet breaks. And it was terribly windy. The van is really difficult to drive in the wind. It blows all over the road because it's so large. But we got here safely, and I'm just walking around the yard now. It's still windy here. Hopefully the audio's okay. I've got my little dead mouse, dead cat, whatever you call it, on the microphone. It works pretty well. So this trip, we're going to turn our attention back to the barn. Now, we pretty well emptied that a while back, but I do have to get rid of the wool, and there's some seats in there, and I want it all finished this trip. And we're also going to drag some wool out of the shearing shed. There's some stored in old freezer bodies. I think there's some in the shipping container down the back. I've contacted some wool buyers nearby, and they're going to come out tomorrow morning and pick it all up. I don't know what they're going to offer us for it, but it has to go. Let's go and have a look in the barn. So Ross has been using the barn for storage for some things, but I want to get the last of our stuff out of there so that he doesn't have to work around it. Oh, geez, what's wrong with the door? That's got it. Oh, okay, these weren't here last time I was here. So he's got some large water, I think he uses them for water. I'm not sure what they're called, but anyway, he's obviously using, they're his hoses. There's some conduit down here. He's been doing some wiring. The timber was Dad's. He was doing some work on the farmhouse, but he's not going to be doing any more of that. So I might take the timber back, or at least put it in the workshop. We'll have to get rid of this cement sheet because we're not going to be using that anymore. The old carpet, perhaps I'll advertise on Facebook for free. See if we can give that away. The drums there, they're old drums. I think Ross has been using them as tree guards or something, so obviously they're his. All this wool has to go hopefully tomorrow morning. So that'll clear out a lot of this. We were looking at a little bit last time I was here. Mum had saved some of this black fleece. They're very nice fleeces. They're quite long staples. And it's very good wool. It doesn't matter that it's old. Wool lasts for a long, long time. It's a Corriedale Cross wool, I believe. And Mum used to use it for spinning. So I don't think she'll be doing much of that anymore. I think she did promise some fleeces to some friends, but whatever she doesn't want, I'll be selling to the wool buyers tomorrow. Now these seats, I did have a guy buy all the old hall seats off me, but he hasn't got back for these. I've messaged him and he said he's happy. You know, he might not be back for 3 weeks or something. So, for 3 months, he said. So if I can give them away on Facebook, I will. So I'll take some photos of those shortly. And there's just some wire here which belongs to Ross as well. So if we clean up all the sundries, then Ross can have full use of the shed, and there won't be any issues with with him using the shed, because he actually does own it now. So that's what we're going to do for a start. You can see the yard's looking like it's drying off a bit. We're getting towards mid to late spring, and it's been quite windy, as I mentioned. We did have a reasonable rain last week, but all the grass is coming up to head. It's all starting to dry off. And it won't be long now until this countryside looks quite dry and hungry and desolate, because it does around here. It's beautiful cropping land, but in summer it can look like a desert. So depends on the season, of course, but it's really going to start drying off for now. The sheep, there's more sheep out that other side there. They're still getting enough feed in the paddocks, but I guess they'll have to be hand-fed hay or whatever during the summer. Ross does stock a lot of sheep. So anyway, that's his farming enterprise now. It's no longer ours. He gets all the silos as well. They're all part of the property. We've just got to clean out all the sundries out of the sheds. So I'm going to concentrate on the barn, at least for today. Get some stuff photographed, get all the wool organised. Let's go and have a look at the wool in the shearing shed. I think there's some in some old freezer bodies. And here's the shearing shed. We probably haven't looked in this shed very much for you guys. Not much of value in here really. There's just a lot of junk on that bench to sort out. It's just been piled up there to get it off the floor. There's a chop saw over here which I think has got a major issue. I don't know, I think Dad might have got it at an auction or a clearing sale, but I don't think it's much good. The stand looks pretty good. It's got rollers on it. I might be able to incorporate that into my shed. We have talked about this roller mill once before. I've never got around to putting it on eBay. I was going to, but it's been parked in here out of the road for now. I would actually love to have it in the shop. It would be a fantastic feature. So we might look at trying to do that down the track. It's certainly not a problem for now. And there's just a bit of other stuff. Oh yeah, we did, I think I pictured the shearing plant that used to be up on the wall. We sold that. There was a grinder which was in here on a little table. We sold that. So I've cleaned out a lot of the valuable stuff. There's some old binder canvases over there which are going to go with the binder that we've sold on Facebook Marketplace. There's some old drench or spray drums there. Bit of mulch for the garden. So not a lot left in here of value. There's an old gasket set from something. I don't know what. Don't know if that's going to be much good. So I think there's wool in these old freezers. I'll just clear the tops off and we'll have a look. Okay, let's clean those off a bit. Let's see what's in them. I'm assuming it's wool. And yes, it's all bagged up. So it looks pretty clean. The good thing about using these old freezer bodies for storage is that they're generally mouse proof. And they all feel like fleeces. It says grey long black section 1997. So they've been stored here for quite some time. Let's have a look in this one. Okay, that's not black, but it looks like a good fleece. So I don't know what wool's worth at the moment. In fact, I don't really follow the market for wool at all, but hopefully it's worth something and hopefully they have a use for it and it will get it out of here. Let's have a look in this one. Oh, hasn't been opened for some time. There we go, much the same. So at least it's all accessible for the guy to come and have a look at in the morning. It's all segregated probably into different types. That's black again, that's quite dark, that one. Looks pretty clean. So it's good that there's been no mice or anything else in here. So alright, we'll leave those lids closed for now. And that's ready to be inspected tomorrow morning. Let's go and have a look in the old shipping container. Okay, we get to walk around through some of the gardens. Mum's always been an avid gardener and she's got some great areas here, but it does take a lot to maintain. And you've always got the worry of snakes around here if the grass gets too long. So she does a good job to maintain a lot of this area. It's going to dry off a bit, as I talked about earlier, from now on, so that's kind of good. You don't have to mow the grass as often. So here's the wood pile down here where you saw us cutting up a lot of wood in a previous episode. We've been burning through a bit of it, but we shouldn't burn out too much more because it's getting quite warm. We don't need to have the lounge fire going, but the kitchen fire still needs to go. The stove in the kitchen still needs to go because the hot water for the farmhouse runs through the stove. So we still will be burning a bit of wood whilst someone's living here. Alright, so let's go over to this shipping container. It's a 40-foot container that Mum and Dad put here a number of years ago for extra storage. And again, it's relatively rodent proof, which is good. It's awfully windy out here now, you can probably hear it. So there's not a lot in this container at the moment. I have been cleaning it out a bit. We have a lot of old mattresses to get rid of, and that's a real pain because it costs us quite a bit to take them to the tip. I think they charge $40 per mattress, and there's probably, not counting the ones in the house, there's probably 10 or a dozen around. So I might try and dismantle a few and you know, maybe get rid of the padding as best we can. Some of it you can actually throw in the compost bin, depends how it's made. There's some shelves of just general storage here. Some of this is probably just empty boxes. Some might be my brother's, some's from other people's places. But we're gradually thinning it out, getting rid of a lot of this clutter. So there's also a massive big long set of cupboards here, and there's a similar set in the garage or in the workshop, as you've seen. And these came from a local haul. I think I'll try and sell those, or maybe even give them away. We'll give that a bit of thought. But all these bags also have wool in them. So Mum does want to go through it and just check. There might be one or two fleeces she'll keep for a project she was working on. But we might as well get rid of it all for wool. And at whatever price they deem fair. We're kind of in their hands as far as that goes. But at least it gets more out of this container. So I've just taken the wool out of the container, and as usual I've got distracted. There was some old wire gates down this side that I'm taking back to the shop, and I thought, well, while I'm at it, let's clean up the junk along the edge of the container. It's easier to keep neat, less chance of snakes getting under the old tin. So most of this will just go to the local transfer station as scrap metal. So we'll drop that out there. They'll take it for free, which is good. There was some old timber I dragged away from out here. I've just put in the firewood pile. It actually had some white ants or termites under it, so that's why you shouldn't leave timber lying around in the dirt. The farmhouse has suffered from white ant damage over the years, and Dad had a constant battle replacing timber, trying to replace it quicker than what they were eating it. Ultimately it doesn't matter, the farmhouse is probably going to be bulldozed. I just dragged this piece out here, and I often talk about redbacks, and you guys often talk about things in Australia that can kill you. Well, I just saw a big one on the end of here. I don't know where he's gone now, but he's vanished. Hope he's not sneaking up behind me. Here he is. Now he's a good size redback, and he's definitely a redback, and for those who haven't seen one in the wild, well, here we go. So if I can get him to turn around, you can see he's much the same as similar spiders I do find in people's sheds, but there you go. Pretty clear that he's a redback. Now I believe that's the female of the species. Whilst they don't necessarily kill an adult, they can make you very sick, and they could certainly be a bit of a worry for a small child or someone who isn't in the best of health. So look, he's crawled under the concrete there. I'm not going to kill him. He's perfectly fine out here. You just got to be careful when you pick things up. Well, there we go. That looks a bit neater. It'd be so much easier to keep trimmed just with the brush cutter along there now that there's nothing to get tangled in. Coco's been running around here doing zoomies, and I think she's dug up a bone that she buried one other trip. It amazes me how they find them, and it amazes me why they think they're delicious. There's some nice area under the trees here. It's all pretty neat. There's a bit of rubbish to get rid of in here, some fencing wire, some more old cladding. There's some windscreens off cars. They would have been early cars. I'd have no idea what the windscreens suit, so I doubt they'll be able to be sold. There's a rotary hoe here with a Briggs & Stratton engine on it that I actually got for Dad when I had a small engine shop back in the 1980s, so it's been around for a long time. It's been a good unit. It still goes, I think, although it wouldn't have been used for a long time. And yeah, look, I'll take that back at some stage. We might give the motor a service and a check over and see if we can sell it. Someone will have a use for it. Someone with better shoulders than myself. So, yeah, a little bit to clean up here, but not too bad. And just through to there is the wood pile. So a few pellets. I think Ross might use the pellets so we can move them out to the farmyard. Little bit of poly water pipe. We'll put all in a pile. There's another big pile of it somewhere. We'll probably just try and give that away. And that will clean up most of this area, which is good. One more little spot that's tidy and organised. There's some more stuff around the back of the garden. This is a more involved garden that you haven't seen. All sorts of things. Veggies are mostly out in the area over there. But this was all really nicely designed with circular gardens and little paths right through. I think they're geraniums. And there's been fairly large trees just come up from either sucker roots from other trees or just from seed. But Mum really likes spending time in a garden. And if we do get the place over in the Gambia that we've been looking at, there's a good area there for garden as well. So I'm not sure we can get through the old path here, but you can see it was just circular gardens with paths all between. It's a really nice area. It's just too much to look after. It'd be too much for me to look after. I don't know how Mum copes. And things just, especially in spring, things just grow so quickly and get away from her. And it's been a fairly wet spring as well, so it's just very hard to keep up. But anyway, look, it'll probably all revert to natural land, or maybe Ross will level it all out and maybe crop it. It's certainly good soil. But at the moment, well, yeah, it's overgrown but quite lovely all the same. So now it's about 9:15 in the evening. We've rounded up a lot of bags of wool that Mum had in lots of different sheds, all stashed away for future spinning projects and all sorts of stuff. A lot of it was dated in the 1980s and 1990s. So, you know, when you're in one spot for a long time and you have a lot of hobbies, you tend to put stuff aside and it just accumulates. So hopefully the wool buyers are interested in all this. It's mostly black fleeces, and it'll get quite a lot of stuff out of some of the storage sheds here. So that will all happen in the morning. And also this evening I've been in the old workshop where we were doing a fair bit of cleaning up work last time I was home, and I've continued just to get a bit of stuff organised here. We were working on that workbench last time I was here, and this week I do hope to continue to finish cleaning up that side of the shed. This evening I've been pulling stuff down from the rafters, trying to get a lot of the old timber and stuff down from up there. It's just a lot of old architrave and leftover bits from building jobs over the years. Some of the stuff was possibly handy, but what's left up there clearly never got used. So I've just been pulling a bit of that down this evening, and no doubt over the next couple of days I'll continue to get a bit more done out in the shed. So that will wind up episode 25. It's only Monday evening. We've only been here for half a day. There's a lot going on, all right. On Wednesday, there's a chance that Dad might be able to come home for a couple of hours. He's been going really well lately, and he's pretty excited about maybe us going to pick him up and him coming back here for a little bit. So it probably will be a bit emotional, but it's good that he'll be able to come back and hang out in his old hunting ground for at least a couple more hours. So it might happen regularly. We'll see how he's going, but it's certainly going to be good to see. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next episode. We'll probably do that tomorrow. We'll see how we go. I might do an episode each day this week and keep you guys in the loop with what's going on. Catch you next episode. Bye for now.